Hello everybody, it's me Cameron. I'm gonna do a small little video here. I'm just gonna go over my battle with Jed. It was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun. I think Jed had fun too. So I'm just gonna go quickly over it. So the first turn, I led with Inteleon. Nick and I were talking a lot about what I should lead with before the battle. I brought up the idea of Inteleon. This is probably because I kind of wanted it to get a lot of kills, but there's an actual reason too behind it. It's really good offensively against this team. Besides like Arctivish, and Primarina, it does a lot of damage to Rosary with Ice Beam and U-turn. It kills Dracozolt with Ice Beam. T-Tar doesn't want to take a U-turn, or if I wanted to, Scald. And Corsola gets hit by Dark Pulse. I thought he would lead with Rose Raid anyway, because it has a pretty decent matchup against my team. It does a lot. But he actually ends up leading with Corsola. And I'm thinking here, and I'm like, I think I'll just see what kind of set it's running. So I go for a Dark Pulse here, and it does 61. Um, I was a little surprised about that damage, and if you can see in the chat here, you're gonna see over here that a lot of people are gonna be very confused about about what's gonna happen soon. I go for Dark Pulse. I thought it would do like 75. It didn't. So this immediately tells me that he doesn't have too much special defense in there. I mean, the actual opposite. He does have a lot of special defense. Um, I didn't quite figure out what his set was during the battle, so I assumed it had to be max HP and a large amount in special defense. So Jed responds by going with Calm Mind. Now I was very confused now. What Jed was trying to do here was Calm Mind, because it doesn't do much for him. I think a Will-O-Wisp Strength Zap set would have been better versus my team. I I would have had a lot of trouble with it if it wasn't for James Pond over here. But yeah. So my thinking now is I don't want to stay in case if it does have Strength Sap, which it ends up doesn't having, because I don't want to just let it set up Calm Minds on me and then have it be hard to kill later on. So I switched into Yatsu over here. He has knockoff, and I did run a couple calcs. If he was max HP and like had like 60% of his EVs and special defenses, still would have killed with knockoff at the range that he's at right now. So that's why I switched in. And then he ends up going for Giga Train, which is really surprising. I didn't even know this thing got Giga Drain. I wasn't actually thinking about that at all. So it would have been really nice for Jed if I did stay in and try and kill with a Dark Pulse. But I still don't think it would have killed, but I'm not too sure. But even at 54%, I'm still confident that knockoff will kill. So I go for knockoff and it does end up killing, which is pretty good. I take Life Orb. That I show that on Life Orb, but I don't mind too much. So this was a weird play right here. He goes into Tyranitar, and when he goes in Tyranitar, I know he knows that I have close combat. So my immediate reaction is not the quick close combat, because it could be Chopple. And if it's Chopple, it will 100% live and just knock me out. So I get scared here, and I switch out. But Jed makes a double here. Jed thinks I'm just gonna stay in and go for close combat. So he ends up switching into his Roserade to try and predict the close combat. But I just go into Fable, so no matter what, it was actually good for him. A lot of people are saying like Jed did really good with that. I think he just to be not to be rude to Jed, but I think he just kind of got lucky with who I switched into. I the way he played his G-Tar there made me think he was Chapel, so that's why I end up making the switch. But in the end, it really doesn't matter because I go into Delmise later on, and Delmise was pretty much made just for Roserade. He's AV and he has a lot of special defense investment, and he has full HP, so I can lift anything, and he can't sleep powder me. And I wanted this from the start. I wanted Delmise on Roserade as soon as I could, because I can just go for anchor shot here if he does stay in, and if he doesn't, it does a lot of damage to all of his other team. So anchor shot was my best play, and I really want him to stay in. So he ends up staying. I go for anchor shot. Now he's trapped. So now I already know. Um, I don't have to worry about hazards anymore. His hazards are gone unless like T-Tar for some reason is stealth rocks, but by now I don't think it's stealth rock. So I just go for rabbit spin here. It does a lot of damage. Um, and yeah, it's rapid spin. I boost my speed. He ends up going for T spikes here. I'm not sure why. Maybe because if I didn't rapid spin, but I was gonna rapid spin anyway since it's a 24 and he's at 21. But I go for rapid spin to outspeed like Arctivish if it comes in. That's pretty much it. I didn't expect him to go for spikes again, but he did anyway, which was fine. It didn't matter at all. It was just a weird play in my opinion, but that's okay. So I end up killing him with rapid spin. He brings out Primarina. Now, I was doing some calcs, and I did end up living an Ice Beam, but I think I switched anyway. I'm not too sure. Oh no, he doubles. Alright, so I stayed in because I knew I lived an Ice Beam with AV, and he makes a double into Dracozolt. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But that's what he ends up doing, and it does a good amount of damage. Of course, I crit, but the crit didn't matter. So I go into Renegrigus, and this is what I wanted like to happen from the very start of the game. I really wanted to take his Sand Rush because I saw he was Sand Rush. I really want to take his Sand Rush and reverse sweep if I could, because it would do a lot of damage to his team. But he ends up going for Dragon Claw. He misses, and then he shows his item Blunder Policy. I didn't know Blunder Policy really existed. Like I knew it was there, but I didn't think he would actually use it. But he ends up missing, and he goes his speed gets boosted, so he outspeeds my whole team right now. Which is really bad for me because this thing can put in a lot of work if it does have his speed increased. It can do a lot of damage, but I'm still not afraid of it at all. I do have a Voltazorb, Yatsu, and I have Renegrigus, Help I Broke. He still can't do much to me, so I'm not too worried about it. He goes for Dragon Claw and see it did like 31%. That's nothing. And I this is where I found out that he was actually Hustle. So so I'm Hustle Renegrigus, so I was really like pumped up about. I really wanted to see what I could do with it, but unfortunately he just he goes into Primarina. I at the time I didn't know if he was Scarf or Specs. Most likely he was Specs, and I stayed in just to sack it. But if it wasn't, well, we find out that it is Specs during this turn. But if he wasn't Specs and he went for Energy Ball, I definitely would have lived and killed him, which would have been funny. But I end up dying, which is fine. It didn't matter to me. I go into Shipwreck because I know I can live an Ice Beam. I know I can live any other hit and kill it with Power Up. So he ends up sacking Arctivish. It didn't do much against me besides like stalling and Inteleon, but that's really it. So I 100% understand sacking the thing. He brings in his Tyranitar. Um, I switch out to Delmise. This is just for differential at this point, because I already know I won. So I'm trying to keep Delmise alive so I can get a bit better differential. So he goes up for Crunch, which I predicted. And then I go for Toxic here, predicting the Primarina. And if I like was a real man, I would have went into Yatsu. But I just on the off chance he went for like Earthquake, I really didn't want to lose Zera Aura, because you know it's Pokemon, you can always lose. And Zera Aura guaranteed me the win at this point. So if I was a real man, I could have just switched into it, but I just ended up going for Toxic on the Primarina. So the way to keep my differential at this point, I'm like, maybe I can just wish, protect, wish, protect, wish, protect, instead of like Delmise for a turn so I can live. But he is Mega Specs. This man kills me, and that was really surprising. I didn't think it would just die. It just dies though, which is it's not a big deal. I just have to have lower differential now. So I send in Yatsu just to finish the match. It was a pretty fun game in the end. I feel like I feel like I had the momentum from the very start of the battle with Inteleon, since it just puts a lot of pressure on his Corsola. And another thing I want to bring up is that Jed had a really bad matchup against me. Zeraora, Inteleon, and Lucario, my three main like all-out attackers, just wiped his team. Not just like his team here, but like all of his other Pokemon like Charizard and Mimikyu and stuff like that. It really did a number on his team. So I don't think Jed played bad at all. He made like two plays where I find very questionable, but it definitely didn't hurt him at all. I think it was just a matter of team matchup, and I just had the better matchup. Um, so I believe Yasu got 3 kills. That's tied second right now, which is good. I always want to try and get like one of my Pokemon in the top 3. So Yad's up there now. I wanted Italian more kills, but it just wasn't safe enough for it to actually, switch in. Can't switch into anything. It just dies a lot of the time. If I would have tried to give him more, if I had a better chance to. Dalmai's put in a lot of work. I feel like he got 2 kills when I was expecting him to get only one. He killed Roserade, which I expected, and he kills Arctivish too, I believe. Dalmai's killed, I believe. If not, I'm sorry, but he did his job and he did a little more than what I thought he would be able to do. I'm a little bummed that Lucario never came out. It was a Swords Dance Lucario, which also did a lot on his team. When Corsola was gone, I knew Lucario was going to put in a lot of work, but I never seen like a big chance to actually come in and do work. But I felt pretty good after this battle. I believe I'm second right now in the conference, but we still have 1 or 2 more battles to go. Manu, who I face next week, I think just 6-0'd Sam, if I remember correctly. So that's a little intimidating to go into, but who knows? We'll see how it goes. And that's all. It was just supposed to be like a quick little video. And Happy New Year's, everybody. Bye bye.